The trailer for Inside Out 2 has gotten a lot of fans talking, with many speculating that Pixar all but confirmed a long-standing theory that concerns the film's main character. Riley was depicted in the first movie to be a young girl who's struggling with her family moving from one town to another. Well, Inside Out 2 seems like it's going to add a lot to that character development through the use of new emotions that were nowhere to be seen in the first movie. But what's really gotten fans talking is the fact that the trailer for Inside Out 2 seems to confirm something that some fans have wondered about since the release of the first movie. Is Riley a member of the LGBTQ+ community? And my answer for you is maybe. Honestly, I don't know, and nobody other than Pixar can confirm this theory. That being said, I can see why many fans have come to support this theory, and I can't deny that the evidence is there if Pixar ever did decide to confirm it. Now, for those who might not know where the theory comes from, it's actually been around since the first movie came out. There's no debate that Inside Out was a massive hit when it was first released in 2015. I mean, fans of all ages could rally behind that movie. But what was really interesting was to see how everyone who watched the movie ended it with a different perception of the type of person Riley would become as her character grew up. While some fans felt that Riley had come to terms with her situation and was ready to continue life growing up as a teenage girl in her new town, others noticed a particular detail that had them thinking that Riley's coming-of-age story would turn out a little differently. You see, because of the emotions that were in Riley's head and the way that they were depicted, some viewers left the theater thinking that young Riley might be a gender-fluid or possibly non-binary person. Some of the first instances of this theory came from Reddit, but eventually it was covered by websites like Screen Rant. And now, with the release of the Inside Out 2 trailer, some fans think that Pixar has basically confirmed the theory to be true. But why would some viewers think that Riley was gender fluid by the end of the first movie? Well, it has to do with how the creators of the movie depicted her emotions compared to how other characters' emotions were shown. Since the majority of the movie revolved around Riley's inner emotions, joy, anger, fear, disgust, and sadness, not much screen time was given to other characters' emotions. But they did appear a few times, whether it be with her parents' emotions that were on screen, or when they showed a few of Riley's classmates' emotions at the end of the movie. One thing was clear, they were different from Riley's. Inside Riley's mind, the character was shown to have emotions that appeared to vary in their gender identities. While joy, disgust, and sadness were clearly feminine-looking emotions for Riley, anger and fear both appeared to be males. Now, this wouldn't make a difference if the creators of Inside Out hadn't shown anyone else's emotions in the movie. Most viewers wouldn't have thought twice about Riley's emotions having different genders, and it probably would have just been chalked up to making the characters distinguishable from each other. But toward the middle of the movie, viewers got a glimpse at what Riley's mother's emotions were like. Similar to Riley, she had joy, anger, disgust, sadness, and fear. But the big difference was that Riley's mom had all feminine emotions. Then, when they showed what it was like in Riley's dad's mind, all of his emotions were masculine. This was the first bit of evidence that birthed the theory of Riley being gender fluid. However, if you only took those three characters and their emotions into account, then there wouldn't be enough data to establish any sort of pattern, and it could be explained by Riley simply being a child and her emotions hadn't properly developed yet. At the end of the first movie, though, the writers actually gave fans a look at what it was like inside the emotional command center of other children, and much like Riley's parents, they were all a single gender. On top of that, the emotions of the children all seemed to match their gender expression of the character that they were in command of. But that wasn't the case with Riley. As you know, she had both masculine and feminine emotions. With that in mind, I can understand why some viewers left the theater thinking that Riley might be gender fluid, but why do they now think that Pixar confirmed it with the upcoming sequel's trailer? That's actually because of the introduction of one of Riley's new emotions and the way that they introduced them combined with their appearance. Inside Out 2 is set to introduce at least 4 new emotions into Riley's command center, one of which actually featured in the trailer. According to reports, Inside Out 2 is going to be introducing the characters envy, embarrassment, ennui, and anxiety. And while the first 3 can only be seen in the poster for the movie so far, anxiety actually made its way into the trailer. They appeared right after the blue blob construction workers finished destroying the command center and altering the console. When they introduced themselves, they used the term "we." Now, they could have just been referring to themselves plus the other 3 emotions that were likely in the background off screen, but there's a chance that they could be using "we" as a pronoun. That's not particularly why some fans think anxiety is a hint toward Riley being gender fluid, though. It actually has a lot more to do with this wacky new character's physical appearance. And, as you might know, appearance, particularly clothing, plays an important role in the Inside Out franchise. Fans of the first movie noticed really quickly that Riley's outfit changed throughout based on the mood that she was in. When she was at her happiest point, Riley was wearing bright colors with a rainbow-striped pattern on her shirt. As the movie progressed though, and her sadness was taking over, her clothes became a lot darker and monochromatic. By the end, she was wearing a black hoodie, which showed that she had hit a low point in her young life. This proved that a character's clothing was a significant form of expression in the movie. That being said, when you take a look at anxiety, it's easy to see why some fans believe that they are a gender-neutral character. In the trailer, anxiety's voice can be heard, and even though they're played by an actress, the character's voice isn't distinctly masculine or feminine, but more so androgynous. On top of that, anxiety's hairstyle also strays from any typical gender in terms of its style. Instead, the character designer decided to give them a more genderless look. Now, on to the clothing, which as I mentioned before, was an important factor. Anxiety's clothing, as it's briefly shown in the trailer, seemed to match what would be considered common non-binary fashion. They're shown wearing a large sweater that's covered in an orange horizontal striped pattern over top brown bell-bottom style pants with loafers on their feet. Now, that could just be a coincidence, but some fans think that this could indicate that anxiety is a gender-neutral emotion for Riley. And again, that adds to the mixture of genders that make up Riley's range of emotions in Inside Out, which is why some fans speculate that she's a gender-fluid person. Now, I know what you might be asking yourself: would Disney or Pixar really confirm that one of their main characters was gender-fluid? And again, the only answer I can give you is maybe. After all, Riley wouldn't be the first Disney-owned character to be a member of the LGBTQ+ community. As far as I'm aware, the first openly LGBTQ+ character I can think of in Disney actually appeared in 2013. It was in the first Frozen film, when Anna and Kristoff stopped by Wandering Oaken's trading post. After they met Oaken, the man could be seen waving to his family who were in the sauna. And in that 2-second long clip, you can see that Oaken's children were accompanied by another man who is presumed to be Oaken's partner. Now, this scene has never been addressed by the filmmakers of Frozen, but many fans think it's fair to assume that this man and Oaken were both the parents of the children. Next up, there was Bucky and Prunk, the 2 rambunctious neighbors of Officer Hops in the 2016 Disney movie Zootopia. In an interview, the director of the movie, Jared Bush, officially confirmed that the pair were a married couple. Then, there was Officer Spectre, the Cyclops police officer in Onward. During a brief scene where she actually gets a line of her own, Spectre says, "My girlfriend's daughter got me pulling my hair out," which was a not-so-subtle hint that the character was actually in a lesbian relationship. Now, as far as live action is concerned, Disney has had a few characters that were believed to be gay. This included LeFou from the 2017 Beauty and the Beast remake, and more recently, Artie from the 2021 live-action Cruella. Though neither of the characters were confirmed as openly gay, they were heavily believed to be so by fans and even the actors who portrayed the characters. And you can't forget about one of Pixar's most recent characters who is openly a member of the LGBTQ+ community. Alicia Hawthorne made headlines when she became the first Pixar character to share a same-sex kiss on screen. So with all of that in mind, I don't think it's too far-fetched to think that Pixar could confirm that Riley was gender fluid or non-binary if that character is actually intended to be so. As I said though, there's really no way of knowing Pixar's intentions with the character unless you work for them and work on the project in question. As of right now, there's been no official confirmation as to whether or not Riley is gender fluid or non-binary. That being said, I'm curious to hear your opinion on this. Do you think Riley might be a member of the LGBTQ+ community? Be sure to let me know your thoughts in the comments below.